Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by TheLines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, rolling separate today, a little separate on the timing for us, but we are going to be put together about 4 player props for you guys here to get into this Thursday slate with you. We also have best bets with some sides and totals looks in a separate episode, so definitely make sure to check that out and continue to follow along all season. It's Thursday, but we do have the email newsletter coming out today. Normally that comes out every Friday from TheLines.com. Right now we're going out on Thursday this week, and you definitely want to make sure to check out the description of the video that has the link to that newsletter so you don't miss the bonus parlay pick that Nate and I are bringing you. 3-1 now in the season, first lost last week, but we are looking to get back up to 4-1 here, almost 4 units made on the season with these parlays. So definitely check out the newsletter there and don't miss any of those wins that Nate and I are getting there on those plus money bonus parlays. Let's go ahead and jump right into Nate's first player prop here for Thursday.
Yeah, let me go with Desmond Bane under 32.5 PRA, the whole portfolio, expecting OKC with the full Eye of Sauron here now on Bane with Ja Morant out among some other guys from Memphis. I don't think Bane's going to be able to be that productive against them. He's gotten under in 3 straight here without Ja, certainly under this number. And, I think he got just over the hook against Utah in a blowout, but the previous 2 against non-tanking teams, Portland and Clippers just shut him down. And he was a minus 41 in those games. Memphis continues to look a bit lost offensively, really on both ends of the floor. So, I mean, maybe this game is not close. It certainly is a possibility when you look at OKC with both Twin Towers in there, with all those defensive wings to throw at him, Dort, Caruso, etc. And J-Dub could even return, who's another good matchup to throw at Bane. OKC allowing the 5th fewest points and rebounds to shooting guards in their last 15. And of course, they're just awesome everywhere and should probably want to rub Memphis's face in the dirt here. It's minus 10 in OKC, but I would certainly lean towards the home team more than Memphis, who, I'm not buying anything into their 37-point win in Utah. I'm actually just thinking let's take Houston to do the same in Utah tonight, because the Jazz are very much not trying. But as far as OKC goes, Bane, even with Ja out there for a good portion of these last 10 games that he's played them, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 15, 6, and 1 earlier this month with Ja. And you say without Ja, he's gone crazy. He has a triple double against those games are against the Atlanta and Sacramento, not OKC. And he can't get much going on the interior against this team, which is going to be even worse now that they have all these weapons defensively. Like some of these earlier games where he's shooting 42% inside the arc. That's not with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein and Dort in there the last a couple seasons ago. So it's primarily he's been able to do damage on threes, which requires somebody setting him up, which requires good offensive flow, and Memphis does not have that right now. And OKC, they're going to pack it in and make you beat them for 3, but they identify the primary ball handler, the primary threat, and then it's just sharks to chum. You do not burn this team with consistent pick and roll. Certainly if you're a step below a superstar, and frankly, Bane is not that guy. And so I think we can take advantage and go under on his PRA, maybe under on his points if you're looking for something specific. Points and rebounds, though, because OKC is just so good rebounding the ball right now. But yeah, really we're fading the minutes and fading the opportunity for Bane with the added attention on him.
My first look here, it's just a system play, man. I got to go back to under on Trae Young. He's still at 24.5 points going up against Miami. And this is something he has not done in the last 3 games versus Miami. He's only done it 3 times in his last 10 games versus Miami. So this is like Spo versus Trae Young as much as it is Davion Mitchell versus Trae Young, who's now going to be the point guard, obviously with the primary responsibilities of defending Trae. You've also got Haywood Highsmith, who has caused a ton of problems for him over the course of the last couple seasons. And I expect that to continue for a guy in his last 3, averaging 13 points a game against this team. In his last 8, averaging 19 points per game versus this Miami defense. And the biggest problem is the inability to just get above the break threes and to get into the paint and get that floater up, right? Now, I do like him to get assists when he gets into the lane. We're looking at a ton of assists for this man over his last three. He went 15, 14. Last game, he only had 8 against this squad. But if we look at the potential assists as well, in that one still had like 13. They lost by 22 points. It wasn't even close. Expect this game to be much, much closer, like within 10 points. Still like Miami to cover, but it's a very small spread of 1.5. So I'm not really worried about that. Feeling like they're going to win. For Trey, without Jalen Johnson against this Miami Heat, it's going to cause more problems. That was his best outlet for somebody that he could get the ball to and trust that he's going to do something with it. He doesn't seem to have that trust at this point with other guys. The assists are still decently high for him, but we've seen him try to score a lot more here over the course of basically the last like 8 games, 7 games. He's eclipsed 25 points in 8 of the last 10. He's eclipsed 28 points in 7 of the last 10. So he's going off, right, on the shooting, but this is not the matchup to do that. The assists are something he is still doing at a decent rate, but not like he was earlier in the year. He's down to about 10.9 per game in the last 20 games or so, whereas on the season he's at 11.4, and with Jalen Johnson up to about 12.2. So there's just a lot more to like here for him to go under and everything. I'm not necessarily going to play like an assist over and a points under for Trey, which has hit consistently against Miami, but I don't trust the guys around him right now. And I don't think he does as much either. So I'm going under on the points at 24.5 and leaving everything else alone for Trey Young.
While we expect the Jazz to lose here tonight, I mean, they are plus 12.5 against the Rockets. Still taking Kyle Filipowski at 12.5 points. I mean, he could get run down the stretch of a blowout. He did manage to get over this just last time out in a 37-point loss. Got the start against Memphis. The prop was 14.5 in that game, and now it's down to 12 because Houston is a stronger defense. But, I mean, Houston does allow 8th highest field goal percentage at the rim since the All-Star break. I mean, Şengün is not a rim protector. It's actually the 3rd highest percentage on the road, 71%. And they allow the 7th highest above the break 3 on the road since the break. So there are some weaknesses here that would indicate how Filipowski can get his points. He's shooting 52% at home from 3 and since the break, and 36% on the road. So classic rookie, emboldened a little bit by the crowd. But I mean, it's more about the fact that we know Markkanen and Collins are not going to play here. And with Kessler in there, Filipowski, he gets far fewer rebounds, but with those guys out, he's right around 15.4 points per game with either guy out. And with both out, we're looking at higher usage and more and a higher average points per game, you know, with Mark and Collins out, hence being able to get over that against Memphis, cruising over it the previous game. And, you know, he had 8 in 15 minutes off the bench against Houston last month when they faced off. Markkanen and Sexton both had huge usage in that game. And Colin Sexton lately has actually been, his production has completely fallen off in home games versus road games. So, I mean, Josh has kind of identified this at one point that they won't play him against good teams as much. Really, they just won't play him when they think they have a better chance to win. And that means home games. And, you know, since they actually were able to beat Houston at home because Sexton had about 30, I believe, I mean, he might not get the full run here. So I think they might go with the young guns a little bit more. Houston might run away with this, but I think Flip, you know, it's March Madness and he's just 1 year removed from being on those Dookies. I think he gets hot enough here to get 13 points. Not really a high bar. So give me Filipowski.
Last pick for me in the player props here, we're going with Domantas Sabonis over 16.5 points. This might even drop down to 15.5. It opened at 15. It's gone up to 16, but it's at about even money for the over. So we may see this available at 15.5 on plenty of books today as well. So just monitor that, but I'm fine with both numbers to go over for Domas. This projection feels like a couple things happening here that are really giving us value to go to the over and keeping this line down. One, Domas has not scored 17 points in the last roughly 7 games. Now, to be fair, in those 7 games, most of them were basically at the end of February into the beginning of March. And then he missed basically like after March 1st, he was out until he came back like a couple times, played some small amounts in like 4 or 5 games. And so everything looks under for him. He's averaging 9 points per game in his last 7, where he played some bad teams, but he played low minutes because they won by blowouts, right? So these are all things that you have to look a little bit more deeply into and go, well, yes, I see that he's averaging 9 per game over the last 7. He played under 30 minutes in most of these games because they won by 42, 17, 10. They lost by 16. They're not playing anything other than double-digit wins or losses, right? And then you look at the last 2 games when he actually came back and started to play some fuller minutes, right? 32 against the Celtics on the 24th, and then a couple of days ago on the 25th in the back-to-back, actually played 38 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back. So he's back, like he's fully healthy, and he had horrible matchups against the Celtics and Thunder. Went 3 for 12 against the Thunder, and went 6 for 10 against the Celtics, 2 of the best teams at limiting center points in the league, and 2 teams that beat them by 18 and 16 points. So it wasn't really much of a game in either of those affairs. Now he's going up against the Blazers here, right? And if we look at them against the center position, pretty much average. Klingon is a monster, no question. Like it's tough to rebound against him. I'm not even scared of the boards against Domas, and I'm certainly not scared of the points for him against Donovan Klingon. On the season, he's at 19 points a game. Even if you look at him in games where he's played with DDR and now Zach LaVine being out there, the points are definitely down from what they were earlier in the year when he plays with D Fox, and he's up there a little bit higher on the depth chart in terms of the priority within the offense. But he's coming to get his now, and he's made it pretty clear too. This is a little bit of an angle that I'm actually using in my logic here. He's made it clear he doesn't really want to be in SAC anymore. And I think he's using the best way to get out of SAC is play your way out, make yourself valuable enough, and complain to the team that they're going to trade you. So I think he's going to keep bringing it. I think he also deserves a few more shots. An awful shooting game in a big blowout against OKC. Now he's going up against a team in the Blazers where he's had plenty of success when he's actually played and shot the ball normal amounts, right? Like 16 points in the opening game of the season, no big deal. Like they won by 13. Then the next one he played 41, scores 21 points against this squad, only 8 of 10 shooting. Next game, only 29 minutes. He's hurt in the beginning of February. So like there's just no real good data against Portland to help us either way. But I think that's in our favor because 16.5 is too low for a guy that's about an 18, 19 game point scorer. And this is not a tough matchup in a game against Klingon or anybody else they bring in because it's no Rob Williams and no DeAndre Ayton, obviously. So this should be a fine matchup for Domas to be able to score against the slow-footed Donovan Klingon. But that's all the time we have for you guys in Player Props. Make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Don't miss any of the content we're bringing you moving forward the rest of the season. Until we see you next, happy betting.